Yeah, today's classic is adverse events following immunization, that is AEFI. The contents of this class is the definition of AEFI, classification, and what is serious AEFI and examples for that, and reporting and surveillance pattern. First, we'll come with the definition. What is adverse event following immunization? It is any untoward medical occurrence that which follows immunization and which does not necessarily have a relationship with the usage of the vaccine. The adverse event may be unfavorable or unintended sign or abnormal lab finding or symptom or disease. So this is the definition of AEFI. It is an untoward medical occurrence following immunization. So the adverse event may be either unfavorable or abnormal laboratory findings or symptom or a disease. So this is called AEFI. Then we use some frequency terminology in AEFI. Very common means if adverse events occurs more than or equal to 10%, we call as very common, and between 1 to 10% common or frequent, and more than 0.1% and less than 1% it is uncommon or infrequent, and less than 0.1% rare, and less than 0.01% very rare. So this is the terminology what we use for AEFI. Next comes to the classification of AEFI. So the adverse events following immunization we classified into 5 types here. One by one I will discuss. First one is called vaccine product related reaction. Vaccine product related reaction. So it is an adverse event following immunization that is either caused or precipitated by a vaccine due to one or more of its inherent properties. One or more the inherent properties of the vaccine product. So this type of reactions are called vaccine product related reactions. So this is one type. The second type is the vaccine quality defect related reaction. So here this is caused or precipitated by a vaccine that is due to one or more quality defects of the vaccine product, including its administration device as provided by the manufacturer. So this is basically a manufacturing defect. Basically a manufacturing defect for the vaccine or the device to give that vaccine. Third one we call as immunization error related reaction. This is caused by inappropriate vaccine handling or prescribing or administration. So this is the error by the medical staff, either a doctor or a nurse who administer the vaccine. So if they are not given in the proper place or given wrongly, or intramuscular they are given subcutaneous, or subcutaneous they are given intradermal, then we will have some errors. So this is called immunization error related reaction, that is caused by inappropriate vaccine handling, prescribing or administration. The fourth type we call as immunization anxiety related reaction. So this is the mainly related to the subject who are the individual whom we give vaccination. So this is anxiety, either child or adult, about the immunization. And last one is coincidental events. This is caused by something other than the vaccine product, or immunization error, or immunization anxiety. So these are the 5 types of adverse events following the immunization. So one is related to the product, second one is related to the quality defect, third one is the immunization error, fourth one is anxiety, and this is coincidental. So examples for this vaccine product related reactions. Example, we get limb swelling following the DPT vaccination. Limb swelling following DPT vaccination. So why we get that I will discuss later. So just take one example, the limb swelling following DPT vaccination. This is called example for vaccine product related reaction. For vaccine quality defect related reaction, example, failure by the manufacturer to completely inactivate. A lot of inactivated polio vaccines leads to cases of paralytic polio. See, we give a polio vaccine, it is a oral vaccine, it's a live attenuated vaccine. So sometimes if you are not inactivated properly, then that leads to paralytic polio. We had one last year, we had one case in Mandya district where we get the paralytic polio because of taking inactivated polio vaccine. Example for immunization related, that is transmission of infection by a contaminated multi-dose vial. Take now measles. We have to give that vaccine. Once you reconstitute, we should use within 4 hours. Sometimes contamination occurs. So that results in what? Toxic shock syndrome. So this is the one example for immunization error related reaction. Next example for anxiety, you get like a vasovagal syncope in adolescent following vaccination. This is common usually in adolescents. This is coincidental events. Fever after vaccination. Even though it is a temporal association, it's a temporal association. And malarial parasite isolated from blood. So these are usually a temporal association. So there is no direct association between the vaccination and these events. Next comes to the vaccine product related reaction or quality defect. Okay, there are 2 types of vaccine reactions we see. There are 2 types. One is called minor reactions and one more is severe reactions. Minor reactions, usually these occurs within a few hours after the immunization, and they resolve after the short period of time. So not much risk for us because it will resolve after short period of time. And usually what we get, either local features or systemic features. Locally what? Pain, swelling, or redness, at the site of injection. And systemic includes fever, muscle pain, or headache, or loss of appetite. So local or systemic, but this usually disappears within few hours. We see the common examples for these minor vaccines. BCG, you see, after giving the BCG vaccination, that local reactions, 90 to 95% it will occur. That's pain, swelling, redness. Almost all children, we will see these local reactions, pain, swelling, and redness. But systemic symptoms are not much. Take for hepatitis B, we see local reactions in adults up to 15% and children 5%, the local reactions. And systemic, usually we get fever in 1 to 6% cases. 1 to 6 is it's more common only. Hep vaccine, the local reactions 5 to 15%, and systemic in that only a fever 2 to 10%. Same thing you see measles or MMR. The risk of local reactions around 10%, and systemic we see here fever in 5 to 15%, and rash we see 5% cases. OPV, no local reaction, only we see systemic, that is less than 1%. We get fever and other symptoms less than 1%. Pertussis, you see the local reactions up to 50%, and systemic also you see fever up to 50%. 50% of the children, they will have fever after the vaccination. Same thing for pneumococcal vaccine, the local 20, and systemic we see fever in 20% cases and other features in 20% of cases. So what we give for this local reactions? The treatment is what? Just cold cloth at the injection site, and you can give paracetamol. For fever or due to systemic reactions, give extra fluids and wear cool clothings, and you can give paracetamol. And for other symptoms, just oral fluids. Then it comes to the severe reactions here. So these do not result in long-term problems. So they are rarely life-threatening. Includes what? Convulsions, allergic reactions caused by the body reaction to the particular component in a vaccine. So what component? It may be an antigen that is present in the live, or killed, or purified, or inactivated toxin, or it is present in stabilizers. So what are the stabilizers? Magnesium chloride or magnesium sulfate. So they help the vaccine to maintain its effectiveness during the storage. So because of this component also will have a problem. Or you can take adjuvant. So this improves the immune response to the vaccine antigen, but most often it is in a killed vaccines. So this may cause problem. Preservatives. So these are added to the multi-dose vaccines to prevent bacterial or fungal growth. Example, thiomersal or formaldehyde. Antibiotics. So where we use to prevent bacterial contamination of the tissue culture cells in which the viruses are grown, like neomycin. So vaccine related reaction or product related reaction is mainly occurs to the any one of this component in a vaccine, either an antigen or a stabilizer or a adjuvant or a preservative or an antibiotic. Then comes to here the severe vaccine reaction, the incidence here. See, for the BCG, the reaction is fetal dissemination of BCG infection. Yes, it will occur in 1 to 12 months interval after the vaccination. But the frequency is very, very less. 0.2 to 1.56 per almost 10 lakhs. So it's very rare. OPV, again I told you already, the vaccine associated paralytic polio that happened in Mandya last year, that occurs in 4 to 30 days interval, and that also we see 2 to 4 cases per 10 lakh. For DT, we can see here the severe reaction is what? Seizures will get, or prolonged crying. So that occurs within 24 hours, and the frequency will be less than 1 per 100. So less than 1%. Next comes to the measles. We see measles here, the common is febrile seizures, or thrombocytopenia we see, or anaphylaxis, and usually it occurs within few days, and the frequency for febrile seizures 1 per 3000, thrombocytopenia 1 for 30,000, and anaphylaxis 1 for 1 lakh. Next comes to the reporting format and surveillance. Now, so the where we give the vaccination at the field level, either by the medical officer in a PSC or a staff nurse in a sub center, or even by a private practitioner. So once they get these reactions because of this vaccination, they should report to the higher levels. So whom to report, that is very important. See here, the reporting format is like reporting format. Here in the format only we should mention whether it's a minor or severe or serious. And the reporting format, it starts from the field level or at the vaccination site, and this is by a health worker or a medical officer or a private practitioner. So they should fill the complete case reporting form within 24 hours to the district immunization officer. So once it reaches the district level, so he should assign the EPID number and complete additional details. And also you should plan a meeting on the investigation of this, and send a copy of CRP to the local drug inspector, or team conducting autopsy and other stakeholders. And also you should initiate the collection of the vaccine or logistic samples if required, and start collecting the data for completing the case investigative form. So from there, the report should reach the directly to the center or to the state or via state. Sometimes there is a provision, the information through web, it reaches directly to the national level. Once it reaches state level, and they should be forms the state or regional. They should inform to the state or regional AEFI committee. They should inform to the state drug controller, and if necessary, convey state AEFI committee meeting to plan the course of action. So this is about the case reporting form, and that should come from the field or from the site of vaccination. So from health worker or medical officer or private practitioner, within 24 hours report to the district immunization officer. Then within 24 hours he has to send to either state and district, and center. So other than this, once the reporting form reaches the district level, I told you already, the district immunization officer is having some responsibilities. So he has to fill the case investigation form. In the case investigation form here, there are two types. One is called preliminary case investigation form, and one more is final case investigating form. So the information he should visit the site, the district immunization officer he should visit the site and he should investigate, and if required he has to collect additional details like vaccine or logistic distribution and utilization and other adverse events in the same area, and other details such as pre-existing health, medical and environmental conditions. Then immediately he has to submit this report to the center within 10 days, and the final report should be submitted to the center within 70 days after the adverse event, and same time he has to inform the state committee and state drug controller also. So once center gets the information, they should inform to the drug control general and other senior officers in the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, and they will inform this to the vaccine manufacturers and to review its products. So they ask to the vaccine manufacturers, they ask to review their product. So this is the flow. I'll repeat here. This is reporting form from the site, from the health worker to the center, and the investigation form from the district to the center. So these are the serious adverse events following immunization. Death may occur, or hospitalization or prolongation of the existing hospitalization like encephalopathy, seizures or aseptic meningitis. Then persistent or significant disability like paralysis or congenital anomaly or birth defect. And last, life threatening. So these the following components comes under serious adverse reaction. So I told you mild, severe, and last one is serious adverse reactions. Yeah, this is enough for vaccine adverse events following immunization. Thank you.